If you haven't subscribed already, hit the subscribe button. Today's project, changing the front brake pads on your daily. This is common throughout, I would say 99% of cars where it's got a single pot or twin pot caliper. um, so let's get started on it. So first, remove your front wheel. That's 19mm nuts on your front wheel. I'm gonna be using the power tools just because it's easier for me. So the common sizes of nuts are 19mm and 21mm. Rarely you get 17mm. Once the wheel is off, this is your single pot caliper. So there's two nuts on this, but you don't need to take both the nuts on this, because your hose is coming over from this way, and that's pretty much common throughout most vehicles. So what you do is you take the bottom nut off on that side, and then you can lift the whole thing, swivel it out of the way. But there's some vehicles that the hose is placed in a different way, so in those cases you might have to take the top bolt off and then swivel it down, or take the whole thing out of the way. So let's get to it. Let me show you how you get it done. So before you crack it open, get it off, this is your blade nipple, and there's a rubber over on top of it. That's a 10mm blade nipple, and crack it open. Don't leave it open, tighten it back, but crack it open and tighten back so that it's easier for you to take it off the next time when it's off. So I'm just giving a bit of impact, so this comes off loose easy. Take that bolt out. That's a 14mm bolt. Once it's off, just give it a bit of a wriggle, and you can swivel the whole thing out of the way like that. And this is how you take your pads off. Just push it out of the way sideways. That's your way indicator on your pads. It has to go from the inside. Some cars there's one from the inside and outside, but most commonly you would find on the inside of it. These are my new pads, so those go in the same way as they came out. On the inside of so these metal clips, they act as metal springs to keep the to keep the pads pushed in properly. So when you're getting them in, make sure you're getting the pad in between them. So these clips are on either side, not just one side, so make sure that goes in properly. And you can put this down. Don't have to put it all the way down, because you still need to bleed it open. So as you can see, your piston is out somewhat, because your pads were worn. So you need to push this piston in before you get the caliper in, or else you won't be able to get the caliper in its place. So how you do that is, you open up the blade nipple earlier. You need something like this. This is called a one-man blader kit, but just something so that you can collect the fluid out of this. This has got a magnetic base. I'm gonna put that magnetic base on the other side of the disc and hook it up like that. It goes on the top of the nipple. I'm gonna open it first, give it a few turns, and should be open enough for it to push the fluid through. make sure this is all the way in, and don't let any fluid go around your caliper. You don't want the fluid to be dripping into your brake pads and making you lose your brakes. This is a caliper piston spreader. So the middle part of this goes into the piston. I just like to keep it on the edge of it, just so that I don't have to turn this in way too much. And this flat space goes into the back side of this caliper. So keep it like that and turn it in. So if your caliper is in a good condition, meaning if your piston is not seized or something, your piston should get pushed in very easy. You shouldn't be able to you shouldn't have to put a lot of effort into it. If you can see, my hand is just turning, no effort at all, and the piston is getting pushed back. So whatever the fluid that is getting pushed back comes out from here, gets filled into that container. A little bit more, you just have to push it in all the way through, as much as it allows you to. And once it gets pushed in, you can't push it in any further. So that's done, that's all pushed in. So before I take this, since it's sitting like this, I'm gonna go ahead and tighten the bleeder nipple first. I'm not gonna take the hose off because there's a lot of fluid in that hose. So tighten your bleeder nipple first. You'll need an open end spanner for that. Make sure you're holding your hose so that it's not turning the bleeder nipple the other way. And that's tight enough. I'm gonna squeeze the end of the hose and take it off so that I'm not spilling any oil. If you're using a small container like this, make sure it's empty first, because you can see it's pretty much full now. So that's how much fluid that comes off of this caliper. Now take your piston spreader out. Like I said, if you don't put it in the middle, it's easy to take it out, easy to put it in. There's a floating pin on this side. You need to push it in by your hand so that it the caliper goes into its place. Put your bolt onto this place where it came out of. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten the bleeding nut first. Don't go too tight on it because they can break off very easy. Once it's tight, don't forget to put your rubber cover on and then finish putting everything back together. That's tight. I'm just gonna see if I can tighten it more. There's torque specifications on all these, but as long as you go tight enough, you don't have to go and have to exact torque specifications unless it's a race car. And that's how you put your front brake pads on. Put your wheel on and do the same to the other side. So when you're tightening your wheel, putting on your bolt or nuts, go at a crisscross pattern, like from here to here, here to there, and from there to there, like that. The reason is that makes the wheel go nice and tight evenly rather than going at an angle. So once it's all tight, put the wheel car on the ground, and then you can use a power bar to tighten it even more if you're not satisfied with your power tool outcome. Once you've finished putting your brake pads together, this is your brake reservoir, brake fluid reservoir. On most cars it would be on your where your steering wheel is, but there's some cases that it would be on the opposite side. there's a limit as max and minimum here, and if you remember, you lost a lot of fluid when you're putting the pads together, so you need to top it up before doing anything else. So you can use .4 whatever that's specified with your car. If it's specified .3 or .4, you can just go ahead and use .4, because .3 and 4 and 5.1 can be mixed together. So top it up. You don't need to close the reservoir just now, and once it's filled up, go into your car, press on your brake. The initial pumps will be very soft, and give it a few pumps until you feel it's properly hard. You should be able to feel that getting harder and harder as you press, and if you can see, it doesn't allow me to go all the way to the bottom now. That means your system is properly bled. There's no air in your system, and if it stays soft after you doing this as well, that means you probably left a bleeding nipple open without tightening it, and you will need to bleed out your system. Once it's hard done, come back to here, and you can see the level has gone down. Top up that amount as well, and then your job is done. Close out the reservoir, and that's it, folks. That's how you do replace your brake pads on your daily. This is a Honda Stream RSZ, but will be common throughout the rest of the cars as well. Well, at least 90% of your cars and vans. Like my video if this was useful, and subscribe to my channel, guys. See you in the next videos. Thank you.